Hey guys, so let's actually debunk one of the major myths of the Kobe versus LeBron argument, which is that Kobe so-called played with one of the worst teams ever, and he was robbed of MVP in 2006 because he brought that shitty team all the way to the first round of the playoffs, and he deserved MVP just for bringing that really crappy team, right? With Smush Parker, Kwame Brown. This is what Kobe fans say, right? He said that team is so bad that Kobe deserved MVP just for bringing that team to the first round. Okay, actually, let's look at Kobe's roster in 2006 and 2007 versus LeBron's roster in 2006 and 2007 and see what they did with their teammates respectively, okay? So this is 2006 Lakers. We're going to look at the playoff stats because that's what matters, right? The regular season doesn't matter too much. So if you let's look at the playoff stats right here, and you can see that Kobe, obviously the best player in the team, 28 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Okay, and people are Kobe fans are saying, oh, he deserves an MVP for that. I mean, obviously he's the best player in the team. Not sure if he deserves MVP. Because he didn't bring this team very far in the playoffs, or he didn't bring it to a very high seed, right? And MVPs have always come from the top 3 seed. And they said, oh, make an exception for Kobe because his team sucked. Okay, well, let's look at his team. Lamar Odom, 19, 11, and 5 in the playoffs. That's not a bad stat line at all, right? How come Kobe fans never talk about Lamar Odom? Lamar Odom's really good, right? Okay, let's look at his other teammates. Smush Parker, 9 points a game. Obviously, Smush Parker was probably the worst player that was starting on this team. Luke Walton, 12 points a game, 6 rebounds. Not a bad rebounder, actually. Kwame Brown, 13.6 rebounds. I don't think Kwame's as bad as what Kobe fans say, right? I mean, just these stats, they're not good, but people are saying, oh, Smush Parker, Kwame Brown, the worst players ever. No, it's clearly not the worst players ever, right? They definitely did something, right? Let's look at LeBron's team, though, in 2006 and do the comparison, okay? So this team in 2006, like I said, Kobe lost in 7 games to the Suns where they were actually up 3-1, right? And then Kobe quit on their team, and in the game 7, they were up 3-1 and they lost to the Suns. And you had teammates like this. Obviously, Smush Parker's not very good. Luke Walton, Kwame Brown, not the best teammates, but Lamar Odom's pretty good, right? He almost averaged as many assists as Kobe did, right? Let's look at LeBron. So LeBron's 2006 roster, he actually went to the semifinals and he lost to 7 games versus the Pistons, who went to the finals before, right, the year before. And let's look at his team that year, okay? Look at the playoffs again. So playoffs per game, LeBron 31, 8 and 6, obviously like carrying this team, right? Then look at his other players. Larry Hughes, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Zydrunas Ilgauskas, 10 points, 6 rebounds, not even 1 assist. And then let's look at his other players. Eric Snow, Ronald Murray. I mean, if you compare this to Smush Parker, right? Kobe fans like to talk trash about Smush Parker all the time. Oh, he's the worst player ever. I would say Eric Snow and Ronald Murray on this team are just as bad as Smush Parker. And Zydrunas and Larry Hughes were not better than Luke Walton or Kwame Brown that year. I mean, look, Kwame Brown, Luke Walton, 12 points, 13 points a game, 6 rebounds. Larry Hughes, 11 points a game. Like, this is crap, right? And Zydrunas, like, LeBron's second best player in this team was either Larry Hughes or Zydrunas, right? And neither of them, I would say, probably like both of them, I would say, are about as good as Kwame Brown. I mean, look at the stats, right? Both of them are about as good as Kwame Brown, and that's what LeBron had. And LeBron didn't have anyone like Lamar Odom on his team, right? He just didn't have anyone like that. So when Kobe fans like to say, "Oh, Kobe had the worst team ever," this is just not true. I mean, look at Lamar Odom. LeBron never had anyone like that. LeBron brought this team all the way to the second round, right? Against the Pistons, and then he lost the 7 games. He carried this team on his back, right? So I don't want to hear Kobe fans say, "Oh, Kobe had the worst team ever," when LeBron carried this team to the second round of the playoffs, right? And he didn't have anyone like Lamar Odom, and Kobe lost in the first round, right? And he was up 3-1 too. So this is just the 2006 team. Let's look at the 2007 team. Okay, so this is another team that Kobe fans say, "Oh, Kobe had a shitty team this year too, and lost in the first round again with this team." So look at the playoffs. Okay, Kobe Bryant, 33, 5 and 4. That's pretty good. So Kobe obviously carrying this team, but let's look at Lamar Odom again. 19 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists. Pretty good numbers. Kwame Brown, not as good this year. Not even 9 points a game. Luke Walton, not as good this year, 7 points a game, shorter from Mark. So Kobe's team this year, I would say, is not as good as the one from 2006. Although Lamar Odom's still really good. Smush Parker is not starting this year, so you can't blame Smush Parker anymore. But you do have this Jordan from Mar, not very good, right? Probably just as bad as Smush Parker. Kwame Brown, Luke Walton declined from the previous playoffs. But Lamar Odom's still really good, right? And if you look at LeBron's team, he brought this team, the 2007 team, all the way to the finals, right? So he brought this team to the finals. Let's see what he had. So in the playoffs, LeBron averaged 25, 8, and 8. Obviously best player on the team. Then his second best player, probably Zadrunas, right? 12 points a game, 10 rebounds. And then Larry Hughes, 11 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Like three assists, 4 rebounds, right? And then he has Sasha Pavlovich, probably just as bad as Luke Walton and Jordan from Mar here. Drew Gooden, 11 points, 8 rebounds. So I would say in 2007, overall LeBron's team got better, which is why he was able to take them all the way to the finals. But still, look at his supporting cast, right? It's definitely nothing to write home about. And then Kobe's team got probably worse, but Lamar Odom was still really good, right? 19, 13, and 2. Anytime you got a guy who's getting you 19, 13, and 2 a game, that's pretty good, right? And obviously this team isn't like, is definitely like not a great team, but what Kobe fans saying that he had the worst team ever in 2006 and 2007 is just not true, right? I mean, Lamar Odom's still better than any player LeBron had during this finals run, right? He had Zadrunas, Drew Gooden, Larry Hughes, a bunch of these guys, but probably they're just as good as what Kwame Brown was in 2006, right? Just look at their points and averages. They were just as good as what Kwame Brown, Luke Walton in 2006 were, right? Not much different. And he brought this team all the way to the finals. Kobe lost in the first round again. So, yeah, when Kobe fans say, oh, Kobe had the worst team ever, he deserved MVP just for carrying that team to the playoffs, I mean, LeBron had a much worse supporting cast, I think, overall. Again, didn't have anyone like Lamar Odom on his team, right? So, these are just the facts, right? LeBron brought this team to the finals. Kobe lost in the first round with this team, right? Despite the fact that his second best player, Lamar Odom, is way better than any second best player LeBron had, right? It's there on Basketball Reference. You guys can just check. So I just want to clear up this misconception, right? That Kobe had like the shittiest team ever or something like that. He only had him for 3 years, okay? LeBron had a crappy team for 7 seasons. It's not comparable, right? They get Gasol the next year, and obviously they go to the finals. So, yeah. Anyways, just got to clear up this myth. And while I'm here on Basketball Reference, I may as well clear up that other misconception about LeBron, which is that he choked in the 2011 finals. Supposedly the worst performance by a superstar ever in the finals. That's all lies, right? LeBron haters spread all these lies about LeBron, and it's just not true. Like they say, oh, Jason Terry outplayed LeBron from the bench. JJ Barea outplayed LeBron. It's just not true, man. And it's just easy to check. You just check on Basketball Reference, right? I'm also going to look at the Lakers' performance as well, because no one ever mentions the fact that Kobe got swept by the same team, right? The same so-called senior citizen Mavs team swept Kobe. At least LeBron took this team to 6 games, right? But no one ever says anything about Kobe's performance, right? So I'm going to check that as well and show you guys exactly what the truth is, right? So let's look at it. Okay, so in the 2011 finals, Dirk, obviously finals MVP, averaged 26, 10 and 2, right? I would say in the Heat, Wade was actually better, right? Wade was probably the best player on the Heat in this final series, 26, 7 and 5. So I'm not going to say that LeBron was the best player for his team in this series. He wasn't. Obviously, this is not his best finals performance. I admit that. But the problem is the haters really try to discredit LeBron for this performance, right? And if you look at Jason Terry's performance here, we averaged 18, 2, and 3 on 49% shooting, right? And they said, oh, Jason Terry outplayed LeBron. Well, let's look at LeBron's stats, okay? LeBron averaged, 18, 7, and 7 on 48% shooting, right? So is 18, 7, and 7 on 48% shooting like much worse than 18, 2, and 3 on 49% shooting? No, it's not, right? I mean, the amount of points they both average is about similar. People might say Jason Terry outscored LeBron, but it's only by literally 1 point, 107 versus 108. Right? And obviously for the rebounds and assists, LeBron just doing way better than Jason Terry here. So that's obviously a myth, right? I think people just want to say, oh, it's embarrassing that Jason Terry outplayed LeBron or something like that, or outscored LeBron. It's not that embarrassing. They don't even play the same position. First of all, Jason Terry didn't come from the bench. He was a starting SG, right? And that's his job. It's to score. I mean, he's a shooting guard, right? So LeBron in this series obviously wasn't that aggressive. He passed and deferred a lot, but still, it's not like LeBron did much worse than Jason Terry, right? Obviously, if 18-7-7 versus 18-2-3, I'd say LeBron did better, right, than Terry. So it's definitely not true that Jason Terry outplayed him. And look at JJ Barea, obviously not true as well, right? JJ Barea had like what, 9, 2, and 3 here on 38% shooting. How did JJ Barea outplay LeBron? It doesn't make sense, right? That's not even close to anything LeBron averaged. So that's basically a myth. And then let's look at the Lakers, right? Okay, so Dirk Nowitzki, 25-9, 2.5. Jason Terry, 22-4. So Jason Terry actually did better against the Lakers. He scored almost 20 points a game on 59% shooting. So that's a lot better than what he did against the Heat. Look at JJ Barea, 11.5, 1 and 5.5. This is better than his stats against the Heat. And he scored 50% shooting. So that's way better than what he did against the Heat, again, when he shot 38%. Let's look at how Kobe did. 23-3, 2.5 on 46% shooting. So, I mean, yeah, Kobe did outscore Terry, but it wasn't by much. It was by like 3 points a game. And Jason Terry was way more efficient than Kobe. Heck, JJ Barea was more efficient than Kobe. But no one talks about this. No one ever talks about Kobe being outplayed by Jason Terry or JJ Barea, when actually that's more closer to the truth than LeBron being outplayed by Jason Terry and JJ Barea, right? I mean, just look at the stats right here. LeBron did not get outplayed by Jason Terry and JJ Barea. Whereas Kobe, you can actually make a valid argument that Jason Terry and JJ Barea were way more efficient than Kobe was, right? You can't make that argument for LeBron. LeBron shot 48%. So, yeah, I mean, this is just another one of those lies that LeBron haters love to bring up, but it's just not true. And the other thing is Kobe was actually directly guarding Jason Terry and JJ Barea because they were guards, right? LeBron wasn't directly guarding Jason Terry or Barea because they play different positions. LeBron's a forward, right? So this actually is more accurate because Kobe actually directly guarded them, right? And guess what? Jason Terry made like a record number of threes while being guarded by Kobe, and he shot 59%, 68% from three against the so-called elite defender, Kobe Bryant, right? No one talks about this, right? How the hell did Jason Terry shoot 59% and 68% from three against so-called one of the best defensive players of all time, Kobe Bryant, right? He was directly guarding them, right? For LeBron, he's a forward. He's not directly guarding these guys. So this is like way more accurate, and yet it's never talked about. Oh, by the way, Peja Stojakovic is playing this game, and he's shooting 52% from three and 51% from the field. And I remember someone telling me, oh, Peja Stojakovic never played in the in this playoff series. He just came off on the bench and stuff like that. Well, clearly he played here, right? So I don't know. I think it's just these LeBron haters are making up stuff, right? They're making up lies. And I just want to debunk these, right? Because it's not true. You can just look at Basketball Reference. Clearly, these are myths that need to be debunked. So I even made a post on Reddit, which basically just says everything that we already said in this video, we already covered, right? Debunking the myth that LeBron did not get outplayed by Jason Terry or JJ Barea, and of course it got downvoted, right? So everyone basically downvoted it. 23% upvoted, and basically all I'm saying is that LeBron haters keep spreading misinformation about him, right? That LeBron did not get outplayed by Jason Terry or JJ Barea. It's all there in the stats. We just looked at Basketball Reference, right? Just look at the averages, right? People want to say, oh, Jason Terry is more efficient than LeBron. He only shot 1% more, right? And we want to talk about Kobe, right? Okay, Jason Terry averaged 59% shooting against Kobe, who only averaged 49% shooting. So Terry shot 1% better than LeBron, and he shot 13% better than Kobe, including ridiculous 68% from three-point range. Like, no one ever talks about that, right? And by the way, Jason Terry is an underrated player, and he did really well this playoffs, right? People want to say, oh, Jason Terry is like this guy that came from the bench and he's old and stuff like that. They keep making fun of him, where he actually like beasted on everyone that playoffs, right? I mean, you saw that right there. Terry's averages even higher on Kobe, right? And they want to talk about, true shooting percentage, right? So true shooting percentage is usually what they want to use for Kobe, the argument for Kobe, because let's face it, true shooting percentage is going to be more favored to guards, because true shooting percentage basically field goal percentage plus free throw shooting, right? And who's better at free throw shooting? Guards, right? So it's going to favor guards compared to big men and wings, right? So generally, that's why if you use true shooting percentage, guards are going to have higher true shooting percentage. Well, not actually higher, but because field goal percentage is generally higher for big men, right? Because they're closer to the basket. But true shooting percentage is going to favor guards compared to field goal percentage, right? Field goal percentage tends to favor big men. So, okay, let's use true shooting percentage then. So Terry is 6% more efficient true shooting percentage-wise than LeBron, right? So that's there, right, on the record. But look at Kobe, right? Jason Terry, if you look at the basketball reference, right, was 20% better true shooting percentage-wise than Kobe, right? 13%, and he shot something like... he was shooting like 74% or something like that, true shooting percentage, right? And we can actually take a look, again, going back to the stats, right? So the source of truth here. If you go back to the stats, you'll see that Jason Terry, advanced stats, so yeah, I mean, look at 76% true shooting percentage, right? 76% true shooting percentage, and against Kobe's true shooting percentage, which was only almost 52%, right? So yeah, I mean, if you go back true shooting percentage, Terry's only 6% more efficient than LeBron, but compared to Kobe, he's like 20% more efficient, right? So it's not comparable still, right? And yeah, everyone downvoted it. Obviously no one wants to believe me. No one wants to, despite the fact that all the evidence was there. I mean, just look at some of the comments here, right? Some of the comments are like, yeah, he's important, basketball reference. So yeah, basically, all these comments are just saying that, oh, the fact that Jason Terry actually outscored LeBron, or actually scored the same number of points as LeBron did, they averaged the same number of points, right? 18 points per game. Even just doing that is means LeBron choked, right? So apparently, LeBron choking just means he's averaging the same number of points as Jason Terry, right? So apparently that's what it means, right? So all these like comments on my Reddit post is basically just making fun of that fact. Oh, you don't know basketball. You didn't watch the game. Oh, JJ Barea, I watched the game. JJ Barea outplayed him. Jason Terry outplayed him. And just scoring the same number of points as Jason Terry means he choked or something like that. Well, what about? I mean, going back to my point. What about Kobe, right? Jason Terry outscored Kobe by like I said, 20% difference in field goal percentage here, right? You can see it on Basketball Reference, but outscored Kobe 20% field goal percentage, pretty much average. Kobe averaged more points per game, but he was like way less efficient, and it wasn't even that much more. And LeBron averaged way more assists and rebounds, right? Kobe didn't even average more assists and rebounds. So overall, I'd say LeBron outplayed Jason Terry, right? You're only going to look at the points per game, right? If you look at a player, you don't only look at one stat, right? So I think people here are just looking at one stat. They're just looking at points per game. And they're saying, oh, Jason Terry averaged 18 points per game, LeBron averaged 18 points per game. That means Jason Terry outplayed LeBron, because LeBron wasn't supposed to average 18 points per game, right? That's stupid, right? It's stupid. Like, that's what all these comments are saying, right? Look, he got outplayed. He sucked. Get over it, because he certainly did. Like, how, right? You just want to say, you're just looking at one stat here, 18 points per game, and you say, okay, he averaged the same number as Jason Terry, that means he got outplayed, or that means he choked. What about the other stats, right? 7 assists, 7 rebounds doesn't matter, the steals and blocks don't matter, right? And what about Kobe? Well, you're just going to look at points per game? Like, he's way less efficient, didn't average more assists or more rebounds, and no one says anything about Kobe being outplayed by Jason Terry, right? Even though that's way more true than LeBron getting outplayed by Jason Terry, right? So it's stupid, man. No one wants to talk about it. And like, if you only wanted to look at like one stat, it's still stupid, because look at Magic Johnson, right? People think of Magic Johnson, one of the top 5 players of all time. Magic only averaged 19 points a game, right? And there's pretty much, I would say, every finals, someone on the opposing team outscored Magic Johnson, right? Larry Bird outscored Magic Johnson. Heck, Andrew Toney outscored Magic Johnson when they were playing against the 76ers. Moses outscored Magic Johnson. People outscore Magic Johnson all the time because it's not his job to score, right? And then people don't talk about that. But for LeBron, it's like, oh, look, he only scored 18 points per game. And the guy who's a shooting guard on the other team scored just as many. So that means, that means he got outplayed. What? Like, that wasn't... I get that LeBron wasn't aggressive in that finals. Probably he should have been more aggressive. And I get that it's below his career average. You know, that's obviously below his career average. But still, like, they don't even play the same position. They don't guard each other. right? You're talking about a guy who's a shooting guard, who's averaging the same number of points as LeBron, who does everything on the court, right? It's like saying Andrew Toney outscored Magic, so that means he outplayed Magic. It doesn't make any sense, right? Or, by the way, Kobe averaged the same number of points per game as Rip Hamilton in 2004, both shooting guards. We don't like to talk about that. Did no one talked about Kobe getting outplayed by Rip Hamilton? Or, oh yeah, he had an 8.4 finals game in 2000. No one talked about him getting outplayed by Reggie Miller, right, in 2000. Or how about Larry Bird scoring 8 points in the finals? Yeah, Larry Bird had an 8-point game in the 1981 finals. Or heck, look at Magic choking in the 1984 finals. No one talks about that. So, and these guys were in the GOAT conversation at one time, right? I'm not going to say Larry Bird and Magic are in the GOAT conversation now because they're not really, but back then they were, right? You're talking about early 90s before Jordan won all his titles. Yeah, Magic and Bird were in the conversation for the GOAT, right? Back then, right? And no one ever talked about, oh, Bird had 8 points in 1981, he can't be the GOAT. Magic choked in 1984 finals, he can't be the GOAT. No one talked about that back then, right? So I get that LeBron has higher standards because he's in the GOAT convo, but you can't just hold one final series against him out of 10 final series he's been in, right? This final series where basically he didn't even do that bad. Average 18-7-7. Yeah, he underperformed his career averages, but it's not that bad. People talk about this as, oh, the worst finals ever or something like that. Worst finals performance by a superstar. What are you talking about, right? Kobe had a much worse performance, right, in the same playoff series against the same team, right? But people said, oh, Kobe's injured or whatever. They always make these excuses for him, right? It's always these excuses for Kobe. 2000 finals, he was injured. 2004 finals, oh, he had off-court issues. He had drama, whatever. Pistons defense was too good. 2010 finals, game 7, oh, his index finger, his shooting finger was injured. And now 2011 finals, oh, he was injured. Like all these excuses, right, for Kobe. Like, they talk about all these excuses all the time. And they treat LeBron's performance in 21-11 finals like it's either people have short memories or they don't know basketball or it's just recency bias because they act like that's the only time a superstar ever got outplayed by a lesser player. And that's just totally not true. I mean, I just posted all these links, right? Andrew Toney, right, put up 39 points on Larry Bird, right? 39 points on Larry Bird in 1982 playoffs. That's there. You get, obviously, Magic choked in 1984 finals. I don't even have to go through that link. Just a fact. Jason Terry, right? 9 out of 10 from three-point range versus the Lakers, right? Kobe, like again, I'm going to mention this again. First team all defense that season. And Jason Terry put up 9 out of 10 three-point shots and what is 68% overall for the entire series. Like 59% field goal percentage for the entire series, right? 75 or 76% true shooting percentage against Kobe. This guy was first team all defense. Again, going back to the fact that Kobe's an overrated defender, but yeah, no one ever talks about that. Shaq, like these guys, right? There's a whole open court episode on guys talking about lesser players that they basically got beat by from time to time because it happens, right? Shaq talks about how Big Country would get his points against him, right? Big Country's a role player, right? But he would get his points on Shaq. Other Hall of Famers like Isaiah talk about Steve Coulter, right? Basically, you have an entire episode of Open Court where all these Hall of Famers talk about how these lesser guys would get their points on them because it happens, right? Look at this one. Steve Francis and Coutinho Mobley combined for 73 points versus the Lakers, and this was in Kobe's young prime too, 2003 against first team all defense, right? How about Jordan, right? We want to talk about the GOAT, we talk about Jordan. Look, there's a video on how Muggsy Bogues played great defense on him. So people want to say, like, responded to this Reddit, it's like, yeah, JJ Barea played really great defense on LeBron. I think one guy even said, you're comparing LeBron to two bench players. He didn't get outplayed. See how this came out. This will never be a discussion. He was also outscored by Terry in fourth quarter. So like, basically people are saying, like, oh, LeBron can't ever have a bad game against lesser players, which doesn't make sense because superstars, even the greatest ones like Jordan, right, and Kareem and Magic, they all have bad games at some point, right? And this guy said it was one of the most surreal things ever to see a 5'10" dude actually lock up the best player in the world for multiple possessions, right? At the same time, JJ was hitting, yeah, like I said, at some point you're going to have role players that are going to be hitting their shots, right, against superstars, and it happens, man. Like, you're going to have role players that outplay superstars. It happens all the time, actually, right? Like this video, Muggsy Bogues playing great defense, like Muggsy Bogues outplaying Jordan. It happened, right? He was never an all-star, right? You got the GOAT, right? The best player of all time getting hit with Muggsy Bogues on defense, a guy who's 5'3", right? And it happens. Like Allen Iverson crossed over Jordan, right? That famous video of him crossing over Jordan when he was a rookie. Doesn't mean he's better than Jordan, right? But it happens, right? You're gonna have from time to time so-called lesser players or role players outplaying superstars, right? It's not like it never happens, right? And people in the comment thread are stupid because they always say, yeah, they always make it seem like it's the first time and only time that it ever happened, right? That, oh, Jason Terry, JJ Barea, guys from the bench outplayed LeBron. It happened before, right? All the time, right? Because you can't have superstars don't always perform at a high level like every single night. And LeBron's been as consistent as pretty much any superstar has ever been, right? Because like I said, 9 out of his 10 finals, he's been pretty consistent, right? It's just that actually I would say maybe 8 finals because 2007 he didn't do that well. Actually, I don't even think 2011 is his worst finals. I think LeBron played worse in 2007, but that's not too much of his fault because he had a really bad team that year. He wasn't even supposed to be in the finals, but still. Eight finals out of 10 where he basically performed at all-time great levels is that's basically unheard of, right? Like no superstar is going to perform, even Jordan, right, in the 1996 finals you could say didn't have a very good playoff series, right? So yeah, even Jordan in the 1996 finals, that's probably his worst finals. So every superstar is going to have moments where he performs below average, right? Jordan performed below average in 1996. Shawn Kemp actually outplayed him in that series, right? And no one ever talks about that, right? Shawn Kemp would get like 24 and 10. Like he would basically get in the lane every time. Rodman couldn't stop him. They had Pippen, right? Pippen couldn't stop him. Jordan couldn't stop him. Shawn Kemp was just beast on the 1996 Bulls team, right? No one could. They didn't really have anyone that can stop Shawn Kemp that series. So I think Shawn Kemp was actually the best player in that series. So you're always going to have moments where people outplay you, right? And we can look at, yeah, actually, here's the footage, right? Shawn Kemp, 1996 Finals, Game 1. Look it up. Where Shawn Kemp gets 32 points, right, on the Bulls team, including Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, 3 of the greatest defenders of all time on that team, right? And Shawn Kemp got like 32 points on them. So, yeah, it happens, right? Every great team, every great player has moments where they get outplayed. People like to pretend that LeBron is the only like superstar where he ever got outplayed by a lesser player. It just didn't happen, right? Of course, yeah, if you want to talk about Magic, Kobe, Larry Bird, even Jordan, Kareem, Wilt. Actually, Wilt got outplayed a lot, right, by Bill Russell. Yeah, even Bill Russell. So like, yeah, all these guys, every all-time great player has had moments where lesser players outplay them. It's just bound to happen, right? Especially when you play a very long time, like LeBron. It's going to happen at some point in their career, right? So it's just people are so stupid. They always think that, oh, this is the only time that we've had a role player outplay like a really great player like LeBron. It's not the facts, man. You gotta look at the facts. So just have to bring that up. All these people downvoting my posts, like they don't want to believe the facts, but it's there. It's true, right? I mean, sure, you can say that Jason Terry and JJ Barea did really well, like much better than expected. But first of all, I don't think LeBron got outplayed. I just think that LeBron underperformed. That doesn't mean he got outplayed, right? And look at their averages, right? Can you really say that JJ Barea outplayed LeBron here? Of course not, right? That's stupid. I can say that LeBron underperformed compared to his usual standards, but I can't say that he got outplayed. He didn't, right? But even if he did get outplayed, it happens a lot, right? It happens. Magic got outplayed. Bird got outplayed, right? Shaq got outplayed. Kobe got outplayed. Even Jordan got outplayed, like I said, in 1996 finals, right? I mean, it happens, right? And I think people, yeah, they either have recency bias or they're just Braun haters or whatever. They don't want to accept this. But it's the facts, right? If you know basketball and you watch basketball, you'll know this, right? Is people either only watched the 2011 finals and didn't watch any other finals or what? Like, it happened. So yeah, I mean, it happens, right? I mean, people want to pretend that it doesn't happen. Like the Braun haters, they want to pretend that only LeBron ever got outplayed. It's just not true, right? Either they didn't watch basketball or they only watched the 2011 finals. Like, I don't know, man. If you watch other finals, other playoff games, you'll definitely know that other superstars get outplayed from time to time by role players, right? By lesser players. It happens, right? If you're playing this many playoff games, you're going to have some guy that's going to get hot one night, right? Some random guy on the other team is going to get hot one night and do well. It's just, even the lesser players, right? It happens, right? But you can't just say, oh, just because of that, right? That that ruins his entire like legacy and career, right? Like people do for LeBron. It's like, oh, LeBron can't be the GOAT because of 2011. It's like you can say that for any player, right? Even Jordan, right? You can say that for any player. I think Jordan actually, the only guy, Jordan's pretty good, but the only guy that ever outscored him in a playoff series was Terry Cummings, right? So even Jordan got outscored by someone, right? Terry Cummings outscored him in, I think it was the '89 playoffs or something like that. So it happened, right? Every player. So just saying. And by the way, Sean Kemp got those points against the best team ever, so-called the best team ever, right? That 72-10 Bulls team, that 1996 team. Sean Kemp was averaging like 24 points per game the whole playoff and 10 rebounds against that team, right? So even when you have the greatest team ever, right, you're still going to have a so-called lesser player on the other team doing well, right? It happens. So, I mean, if you know basketball, if you watch basketball, it's the truth, right? And people want to talk about LeBron's 8-point game in Game 4 of 2011. Okay, that happened. Well, so did Bird. Bird had 8 points in 1981 Game 3. Kobe had 8 points in 2000 Finals Game 5, right? But then you want to say, oh, LeBron's in the GOAT conversation. Yeah, these guys were in the GOAT conversation at one point too. Bird was in the GOAT conversation in the early 90s. Kobe was in the GOAT conversation in the 2000s, right? Actually, he's still in the GOAT conversation by some Kobe fans, even though he's no right to be in the GOAT conversation. But still, some people still think he's in the GOAT conversation. So you're talking about all these guys who are in the GOAT conversation too, right? And they all 8-point games, right? So there's a different standard for LeBron that's just not there for any other superstar, right? You gotta, and like these guys all got outplayed by other players too, right? So, I mean, it happens, and it's just LeBron has a different standard, right? People have a different standard for him, and it's not fair.